other people. That is a very brilliant answer. I think from what I'm seeing here, I must say that the teachers have done a very beautiful job. And all honor, praise, and glory goes to who? God, who has given you very sharp brains. I can see that the children who are gathered here are very, very brilliant. So for that, I want you to clap for yourselves. I also want you to clap for your teachers. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, from what we have been saying so far, we have said three things, is it not? Health is about three things: physical well-being, mental well-being, and social well-being. Let me ask you a question. If I don't have pain, I don't have wound, I don't have anything in my body, affecting my body, and I can think straight, I can think normal, as a child of God, the way they have taught us in Sunday school, the way our parents have taught us in our homes, I behave very nicely. The way they have taught us in our schools, I behave very nicely. But when I see my friend, when it is break time, everybody is playing. Me, I just go and sit down at one corner. Do I have good social health? No. I must be able to interact with every other person. I must be able to interact with somebody in my family, somebody in my school, somebody on my street, somebody in my Sunday school, and somebody wherever I find myself. Is that okay? And because we have adults also among us, they must also share in this discussion. So, are we projecting? Sorry, are we projecting? I can give you this. Okay. I'm so sorry. Just a few minutes, and we'll be able to project so that you see what we are talking about. The children have done very wonderfully, and they have made my task very easy. They have made my task very easy. Now, before we continue, how many of us have our Bibles here? How many of us have our Bibles here? Okay, let me call, because we have been calling people from this place, let me call somebody from the back. Okay, please come. Yes. Please come quick. Bring your Bible. Open it to Exodus chapter 15. Exodus chapter 15. Who wrote the book of Exodus? Who wrote the book of Exodus? Clap for yourselves. So, we are going to read about Exodus chapter 15, verse 26.
Okay. Exodus 15, verse 26. And it says, and said, if thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, and wilt do that which is right in his sight, and wilt give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Egyptians, for I am the Lord that healeth thee.
Thank you very much. Clap for him. Did you hear what he said? Okay, I'm going to say it. I'm going to read it for you now. So please listen carefully. No side talk. Now, God was telling the children of Israel, he said, if you listen carefully to the voice of the Lord your God and do what is good in his eyes, if you pay attention to his commands and keep all his decrees, I will not bring on you any of the diseases I brought on the Egyptians. For I am the Lord who heals you. For I am the Lord who heals you. Say it again. He said, if you listen, if you obey all the commandments I have given you, that is who is talking now, God. And he's also talking to us here, that if you listen to what God has said, what your parents have taught you, what your teachers have taught you, what your teacher in school, and in your regular school and your Sunday school, what they have taught you, if you listen to them carefully and you practice them, then diseases which were on the Egyptians will not come near you. Who can tell me some of the diseases that came on the Egyptians before they allowed the Israelites to go?
There were too much of frog.
There were a lot of frogs. They also had a lot of boils.
Water into blood.
Water also turned to blood because of our time. Do you need a flash? Please, just 1 minute. I want you to be able to see what we are talking about. Hello? Hello? Okay, now, somebody came to ask a question that, can we say somebody is mentally ill if he took a stone and wanted to throw it at something else and mistakenly threw it to damage something? Can we say the person is mentally sick? No. That is the answer. But we will see it as we go along. We just want them to project it so that you'll be seeing everything we are talking about on the screen. Okay? Somebody else has a question. Let us listen to this question.
Sir, those diseases that came from Egypt, are they still aware now?
Okay, thank you very much. The Egyptians in what? Boil. Are there boils nowadays? Somebody can have a boil in the armpit. Somebody can have a boil in the cheek. Someone can have a boil anywhere. So boils are still there. Okay? Okay. Can we all see the screen? Can we all see the screen? Okay. So, I will not waste so much time. Have you heard of World War before? World War I, World War II. Have you heard of it before? It was after the World War II when everybody in the whole world gathered together to start fighting one another. Then when they concluded the war, they now gathered together in a place. They called it World Health Organization. They now gave that definition of health and said it is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. And can we see the components of health? Components of health, there are three, as the young girl has told us: physical, mental, and social. Physical, mental, and social. Now, quickly, you will see a diagram. The next page. Can you see that diagram? You can see that everything they are touching one another. All those circles are touching one another. The purple, the yellow, the blue, the green. They are all touching one another. And that means to be healthy, you must have all the three. You must be healthy physically, you must be healthy mentally, and you must be healthy socially. If you are healthy physically, you are healthy mentally, but you don't interact well with your neighbors, your friends, your family members, then we consider such a person to be sick, to be ill. So how many of you agree that you are healthy? So that means all of you, you have good physical health, you have good mental health, and you have good social health. Now let's quickly look at this. Do you know that life is divided into various stages? At a point in time, I was like this little boy. I was like this little boy when I used to go to Sunday school. When we used to go and clap our hand, and after we clap our hand and sing and read the Bible, then they give us biscuit and we eat biscuit. And then we go home. So after a while, I became like this auntie. So I grew up. Then after a while, I became an adult. So what are the stages of life? Let us see. And we can see all those stages of life represented here. So let us see. If you are 0 to 1 year, raise up your hand. 0 to 1 year. If you are 0 to 1 year old? No, we don't have such. Do we? Okay. 0 to 1 year is called infant. What did I call it? Infant. 2 to 4 years. How many of us are 2 to 4 years? 2 to 4 years. How many of us? What do we call 2 to 4 years? We call them toddlers. What do we call them? Toddlers. And how many people are 5 to 12 years? 5 to 12 years. So, clap for yourselves. We say, you are children. What do we call you? What do we call you? And 13 to 19. How many of us are 13 to 19? Are you 13? Are you sure? Okay, 13 to 19, they are people that we call teenagers. What do we call them? We call them teenagers. How many people are 20 to 39 years? 20 to 39 years. Clap for yourselves. We say you are young adults. What do we say you are? Of course, we may not have so many people here. 40 to 59. Are you 40 to 59? If you are not 40 to 59, please put down your hand. It's only 40 to 59 years old that should raise up their hands. All right, so we say 40 to 59 are in the middle age. So you are in the middle age. And people that are 60 years and above, we say they are senior adults. And the reason why we brought this out is because there are different sicknesses that affect different age group. What did I say? Clap for yourselves. Very brilliant. Now, let us quickly look. Physical health. Remember how many stages or how many levels of health? 3. How many levels of health? 3. The first one, physical health. Second one, third one, these children know everything. I'm sure you know more than myself, right? Clap for yourselves. So when we say physical health, it means freedom from illness, dysfunction, or injury to the human part. It involves every part of your body. Next page. What are some of the physical challenges, physical health conditions that can affect an individual? When we say musculoskeletal, what do we mean? Muscle and what is skeleton? Bone. So muscle and bone. Some of the sicknesses that can affect people is arthritis, back problems, fractures. When we look at diseases that can affect the heart, which we call cardiovascular, we say hole in the heart. How many people have heard that word before? Hole in the heart. Have you seen somebody who has hole in the heart before? What happens to the person who has hole in the heart? They are sick. They cannot run. Every now and then, they will be panting. They'll be having infection. And their legs will be swollen. Their stomach will be swollen. And they cannot do anything. Every now and then, they are going in and out of hospital. Then for the adults, as hypertension. Do you know that hypertension can affect children? Have you heard of the word hypertension before? Do you know it can affect children? Okay. So that is a physical health problem. Let us look at this. Respiratory, that the one that affects the lungs. The one that affects the lung. When somebody is having pneumonia, Have you heard of the word pneumonia before? Have you heard of the word tuberculosis before? Have you heard of asthma before? Now, let us look at the disease that affects our intestine. Who knows where the intestine is? Is the intestine here? Is it here? Is it here? Okay. What are the conditions that can affect the intestine? Have you heard of diarrhea before? Have you heard of vomiting before? These are diseases that can affect the intestine. And let me ask you, how can disease get inside the intestine? Who can tell me? If I see food on the floor, I pick it, I put it inside my mouth, and I eat it. It will trouble my stomach, is it not? And I'll start vomiting. One will start having diarrhea. If I go to the toilet and I come back, I did not wash my hand, and I touch my food and put it in my mouth, what will happen? One may have abdominal pain and vomiting. If I pluck mango on the tree, I just blow my saliva on it, and I rub it on my cloth, and I start eating it. What will happen? I will start having stomach pain, and so on and so forth. And the same thing can also cause me to have what? Pneumonia. Is that okay? So, next page. Physical problems, physical health problems can be three types. I'm sure you can see it on the screen. The one that we call communicable disease, non-communicable disease, and injuries. Communicable disease, non-communicable disease, and injuries. The one that affect children most are the one we call communicable disease and injuries. Let me tell you the story of one little boy. He was 6 years old, and he loved to climb on tables, tall tables. And from there, he would jump down. And do you know what happened to him one day? As he was about to jump, his foot slipped, and he just brought his head down from the table and hit the ground. Do you know what happened to that boy? He fainted. He fainted. He did not know what was happening again. So the parents rushed him to hospital. Then they saw that blood was forming inside his skull, inside his head. And because of the blood was pressing down on the brain. That's why he fainted. We say unconscious. Some people will also say he was in coma. He has not got to full stop, but he was in coma. He was in what? He was in coma. Then they took him to to theater. They opened his skull. They removed the bone and removed all the blood inside the head. But when they finished everything, do you know what happened to that boy? I'm so sorry what happened to that boy. Do you want to hear it? If you want to hear it, raise up your hand. So the boy's hand was like this, and his leg also was like this. So he was walking like this. Is that good? So, who can tell me what the boy was doing before something like that happened to him? He was playing rough play. He was doing what? He was playing rough play. So how many of you will play rough play later? When you get to your school, how many of you will be climbing the tree and jumping down? How many of you will climb your desk and jump down? How many of you will do backflip? How many of you? Do you know that if you do backflip, you can break your back? Do you know that if somebody breaks his back, what will happen? The person will not be able to walk again. The person will not be put inside wheelchair, and they'll be pushing the person up and down, up and down. How many of us want that? Me, I don't want it to. How many people want that? I don't want it to. Do you want it? And that means you must not play rough play. Okay, we have mentioned examples of communicable diseases. One is tuberculosis. The other one is malaria. The other one is HIV/AIDS. The other one is cholera. The other one is Lassa fever. The other one is yellow fever. The other one is meningitis. And the other one is poliomyelitis. All these ones are things that affect children. And we will see how we can prevent, how we will avoid getting these diseases. We are going to see them very soon. Non-communicable disease, not very common in children, but common in adults. Non-communicable disease means a disease that somebody has, but cannot pass it to another person. Okay? Whereas communicable disease is disease that somebody has and can pass it to another person. Okay? So some of the non-communicable disease will include congenital heart disease. Example is what? Hole in the heart. Example is what? Hole in the heart. Others include cancers. So I want to make a prayer that God, all the days of our lives, we will not get cancer. Say amen. Do you know that cancer can affect children? There's a kind of cancer that affects children. For instance, it can affect the kidneys. We call it Wilms tumor or nephroblastoma. There is a type of cancer that can affect the brain in children. There's a type of cancer that can affect blood of children. So, every day you wake up, you must pray that God make me healthy. What did I say? All right. There's another one, chronic respiratory disease, asthma, and diabetes. Have you heard of diabetes before? Do you know that many children also suffer from diabetes? Do you know? Have you heard of it? So my prayer is that diabetes will not be our own portion. Amen. Next page. Do you know that in 2016, in the year 2016, 1.4 million people died in Nigeria? And 11% of them were 70 years and above. Communicable disease caused 72% of the deaths. Who can give me an example of communicable disease again? Yes?
Cough.
Yes.
Kata.
Catarrh.
HIV.
HIV.
Cholera.
Cholera.
Cancer.
Well, cancer is not communicable. Communicable is this disease is something that somebody will have and pass it to another person. Okay.
Yellow fever.
Yellow fever.
Malaria.
Malaria. Do you know that all kind of sicknesses caused 72% of people in Nigeria to die in 2016? Is that very serious? It is very serious. And many of these things are things about children. Okay, so now, non-communicable disease, which are more common in adults, cause 23% of the deaths, and injuries cause 4% of those deaths. And do you know that 25% of what is spent in our families, they spend them to treat sicknesses? I can see that most of these sicknesses are caused by what? Communicable diseases. Do you know the one good thing about communicable diseases? Do you know there's one? We can prevent communicable diseases. What did I say? I didn't hear you. We can prevent communicable diseases by ourselves. I'll tell you how we can prevent communicable diseases. So, if our family has 100,000 naira, do you know that 25% of 100,000 naira, they use it to buy medicine for malaria. They use it to treat diarrhea. They use it to treat diabetes. They use it to treat hypertension and many other things. Is that a lot? That's a lot of money. If they were not using that 25,000 out of 100,000 to treat these things, do you know that you will eat better? Do you agree with me? Do you know that you will dress better? Do you agree with me? So, we'll see how we can prevent communicable disease. Now, somebody who is ill, what will happen to such a person? If somebody is sick, would he be jumping up and down and dancing? He will be what? He will have poor emotional and mental state. And the person, would he be able to go to school? If somebody is very ill, would he be able to go to school? No. Now, let's look at second aspect of health, which is what? Which is what? I didn't hear you. Mental health. It's a state of well-being in which people are able to cope with stress of life, realize their abilities, learn and work well, contribute to their community. It is the ability to make good decisions, build relationships, and shape the world. Do you know that if you take 8 people, if you get 8 people, just pick them randomly, 1 out of them has mental problem. 1 out of 8 has what? Mental problem. Do you know some of these mental problems? Do you know some of these mental problems? Oh yeah, somebody mention one for me. Next page. Next page. Next page. Next page. Thank you. So can somebody mention one mental health for me? Quickly.
Violence.
Violence. Thank you. Clap for him. So, if nobody has done something to me, in your school, you see somebody in your school, you just go there and just slap the person, pass. Or you just see somebody and you push the person like this and the person falls. What is that? Mental problem. Somebody wants to mention another mental problem?
Asking stupid question. But sir, there's another.
No question now. We'll
No.
ask question later. Answer the question.
A new disease from Russia is Costa 2. It comes from bats. Costa 2 is the new disease.
Okay, thank you very much for that. We are on mental disorders. Can somebody give me an example of mental disorder? Anger. Clap for her. Okay, quickly.
Untidy appearance. Untidy appearance.
Untidy appearance. Okay, we can take what that girl I will come to you later. Thank you. Wait. What that girl said is very, very important. She said anger. What did she call it? Anger. Somebody, any small thing, and it's common among our teenagers. Minigba, I will not agree. I not go agree. We will not agree. And small thing, they start to fight. And small time, they break their head. Okay? So, you must avoid anger. Even what did the Bible say about anger? Who can tell me what the Bible says about anger? Anybody? Anybody who has read Bible very well? What did the Bible say about anger? Oh yeah, come.
Bible says about anger wouldn't lead you to heaven. Bible said that anger wouldn't lead you to heaven.
Anger will lead them to hell. Okay? Now you come. Quickly.
The Bible said anger will not make you friendly.
Anger will make
you not friendly.
Anger will not make you friendly. The Bible said, be angry, but do not sin. And do not allow the sun to set over your anger. But if you are angry to the point that you have to injure somebody, that is what mental problem. If you are angry that you have to pick a stone and throw it at somebody's head, break his head, and you see blood coming out, that is what mental problem. And let me also tell you, do you know that to overeat, to eat and eat and eat and eat is also a mental problem? Do you agree? Okay. And for our teenagers, the teenagers among us, the major ravaging problem we have in our society today is substance abuse. Is what? I beg you in the name of God, our teenagers, don't ever try it. Don't ever what? Just yesterday, I was buying petrol at a petrol station. And one young man, of course, when you see them, you know them very easily. No belt. The shokoto was at this level. And he just called one. I was shocked. They poured something from a sachet, another one from another bottle, another one from another bottle. They shook the thing together, the color changed. I was wondering. The next moment, he gulped it. Do you know that Substance abuse is like evil spirit enter into somebody. Do you agree? And do you know, let me tell you something for some training. And what people were in South Africa is that who wants to try a drug for the first time, they give it to them free. They will not ask you to pay. But when you take it once, the evil spirit enters into the person. And the person will not rest anymore until he takes that thing again and again and again and again. And that's how the person will go and sell his shoes to buy the medicine. He will go and sell his he will use his pocket money and buy the drug. He will take their television in the house and sell it to buy that drug. And he will never stop until he damages himself and kills himself. Or he turns to a madman on the street. It is my prayer that we will not turn mad in Jesus' name. Please, our youths, avoid substance abuse. Avoid what? Avoid substance abuse. Okay, quickly, let us go to how to improve health. How to improve health. Thank you. So, if we want to live a healthy life, or let me ask you, how many of us want to live a healthy life? How many of you? Some people are not raising their hands here. Oh. Some people are not raising their hands here. Oh. Me, I want to live healthy life. Okay, say it to yourself. I want a healthy life. God, please give me healthy life. Let me now tell us some of the things we have to do so that we can have healthy life. Number one, active lifestyle. Always be active. Always be active. Engage in school activity, engage in sports, engage in so many other social activities. If your parents call you, come and sweep this house. Do you know that sweeping is a form of exercise? Do you know that washing is a form of exercise? Do you know that dancing is a form of exercise? Do you know that swimming is a form of exercise? So all these things you must do. Then vaccination. For instance, poliomyelitis, the one that paralyzes children's legs. Do you know that there are vaccines that can be given? So this is more to our parents. All children should be immunized as much as possible. Let's take our children for immunization as much as possible. Medical screening. From time to time, since the adults among us, the elderly among us, we must go to hospital. It is not only when we are sick that we go to hospital. We can go to hospital and say, doctor, check my blood pressure. Doctor, check my sugar. Doctor, do a chest x-ray for me. Let me be sure that I don't have pneumonia, I don't have TB, I don't have this and that. So medical screening is very, very important. And if you are sick, don't just take medicine on your own. Don't just walk to the pharmacy or the chemist to say, give me this, give me that, give me this. Go to a medical expert. Go to a doctor. Go to hospital. Eat balanced diet. Who can tell me what is a balanced diet? Okay, don't worry, because of our time. Because of our time. Do you know that I know so many children, it is biscuit and sweet, biscuit and sweet, biscuit and sweet. When they put a bar on the table, they will not eat. When they put rice on the table, they will not eat. Do you know what those children are doing? They are damaging their health. What are they doing? So you must eat balanced diet. You must eat food that contains protein, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, and many others. Mineral salts. Okay, thank you. So you must eat balanced diet. Eat eba, vegetable, rice, and whatever you eat, you don't overeat. What did I say? Don't overeat. Okay? And again, the most important aspect, good hygiene. What did I say? Good hygiene. How do you know that's good hygiene? You hand washing. Clap for him. Clap for this, my friend. Very, very good. Very, very good. He said hand washing. When you touch the door, you come back from school, what do? You go straight to the washroom and wash your hands. When you come out of the toilet, when you finish in the toilet, what do? You wash your hand. When you finish playing outside, you do what? You wash your hand. Do you know that 83 out of 100 bacteria can be washed away with ordinary water? If you just go to the bathroom and wash with water, wash your hands with water, you can remove 83% of germs from your hand. So if you do that, you will not do what? You will not have gastroenteritis. You will not have diarrhea. You will not have abdominal pain. You will not have pneumonia. You will not have tuberculosis. Okay? So hand washing. Your dress must be clean. Your shoes must be clean. And even your bed, when you wake up, you dress your bed properly. You arrange everything neatly. So with that, you can have good health. You must always drink enough water. I know a small boy. He does not take enough water. Next page, please. Hello? Next page. So, I know one little boy. He does not like drinking water. He can eat. He can do this. He can play. But he will not eat and he will not take enough water. He doesn't like to drink enough water. Do you know that every time he needs to go to toilet, he will struggle and struggle and struggle before the excreta can come out. And when the excreta come out, they'll be very, very hard. So he used to have a lot of pain in his stomach. So what must you do? Drink enough water. What must you do again? Always sleep on time. When they say go and sleep, at 12 o'clock, some children are still doing, they are still playing on their mommy's phone, on their mommy's iPad, on their mommy's laptop. They are still playing games. 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Is that good? Good children must finish their work, and by 9 p.m., 10 p.m., they must be what? In bed, you must sleep well. When you sleep well, your brain will be what? Sharp the following morning. You'll be strong the following morning. So when you are supposed to sleep, that is not when you are supposed to be watching television or playing games on laptop and many more. Okay? Good social relationships. In your school, play with your friends. At home, play with your siblings. Relate with your parents. Relate with other children in the neighborhood. But they must be what? Good children, not bad children. They must be what? Good children. So to conclude, I'm sure we have learned one thing, that health is 3 aspects. Number 1 is what? No, physical health. Number 2 is what? Number 3 is what? So, it is my prayer for you that you all grow in health, remain in health, and may your health continue to get better and better. Thank you very much. Is there any question? Somebody has written something here, a question. Should I read it to you? And one of you will answer it for me. The question is this: is it true that without enough water, one can have constipation? Who wants to answer it for me? Me, I don't know the answer. I want somebody to answer it for me.
If you want to live,
He said if you want to go to toilet, you are going to struggle. You remember the example of that little boy? If you are not drinking enough water, you will be constipated. You will not be able to go to toilet to stool properly. And by the time a lot of stool gets inside your stomach, then the person will be sick. Do you know that this stool contains a lot of germs? Our stool contains a lot of germs. So if those stool remain in our bodies, to our blood, and they start making us sick. If water, then the person can be constipated. Any other question?
if someone have asthma and the person was running and he forgot his medicine at home, what is going to happen to the person?
Thank you very much. I'm sure we had a question. If somebody has asthma and forgot his medicine at home and is now running and something is now happening to the person cannot breathe well, what will happen to the person? I think it is a very dangerous. So anybody who has an asthma must always carry his medicine in his pocket. What did I say? Anybody with asthma must always carry his medicine in his pocket. So, I think, I don't know, our mothers, our daddies, any question? Our teenagers, any question? Is everything well understood? Thank you very much. God bless you.